I have owned my EufyMake UV printer for just over 8 months now, and there has been a lot of things that I have learned throughout these 8 months. Now, I have posted a ton of videos about the EufyMake UV printer, and generally when I post those videos, I give you my tips and tricks and hacks throughout the process. However, I wanted to compile a video of everything that I've learned about the EufyMake UV printer in one video, just so you don't have to go fishing for all those hacks in all the other videos. However, I'm just letting you know that if you did want to go watch all of my EufyMake UV videos, they are worth the watch. I give you some really good content in those videos. But I know a lot of people love these hack videos, so here we go with my 10 most important hacks and things that'll make your life easier with the EufyMake UV printer. Let's go. The very first hack I want to show you with the EufyMake UV printer is actually not within the software or the printer itself, but it's going to be with this dang sticker paper. When you first get your EufyMake UV printer, you are going to waste a ton of sticker paper because you're not going to peel the clear plastic part off like you're supposed to. I'm going to show you how to do it on a small flatbed, but you can also do this same technique on a large one. Just want to make sure and do it right. So what generally happens when people first get their EufyMake UV printer is, in order to use the sticker paper, what you have to do is take the clear film off of the sticky stuff. Now, if you go slow, which most people will, they will start to have their adhesive start to come up and ripple, and you're going to be left with not a lot of sticker paper left over, and you're going to be so frustrated because it's annoying that it comes up. However, what I want you to do is get this bad boy started and rip real fast. I know that that sounds really silly, but I'm telling you right now, if you've been victimized by the adhesive on a flat mini bed or even the large one, you will know faster is better, so you no longer waste that adhesive. So there is not any type of rippling or anything like that in my adhesive. I didn't waste anything, and now we are ready to print some stickers on this bad boy. Now, before we go over to the software, because a lot of the hacks are going to be over the software, I have one more printing hack for you, and it's going to be using either the large or small bed. Now, these mats, I would consider them to be like Cricut mats. They are sticky on one side and on the other that holds onto your large flatbed or even your small. You can see I got a little bit of overspray right here, right? The problem with this is that these mats are kind of pricey. How to combat this? You can do one or two things. Actually, you can even do three. The very first and most economical way that you're going to be able to save these mats is by using just basic print paper. All you need to do is put this onto your mats just like this and add in the piece that you're wanting to print on. Print it right on here. All that overspray is going to get sprayed onto this clean white printer paper, and when you're done, all you have to do is not only take your material off, but also your paper, and your mat stays brand new. You can tell I'm a little lazy and I don't do any of this stuff. Well, that's probably because they give it to me for free. Had I had to pay for this, I probably would have done these hacks. The second and not most affordable part of this entire hack series is going to be to get yourself some painter's tape. This stuff right here is the more expensive kind. The blue kind is the cheaper kind. You could do the same thing. Pretty much the same thing of this. You're going to want to take some of this painter's tape and you're going to lay this down onto your bed. You can do small little sections and you can put your piece of thing on there. You would print your item. Your overspray would be on this tape, and then you would just rip off the tape, leaving yourself with a clean mat. Again, not the most economical because this stuff right here is kind of costly. Now, the third way, which is honestly, if you're gonna do something like a sticker method, I would much prefer you to get this. If you have a laser engraver or a cutter, you have seen this roll before. It's paper masking tape. Kind of the same thing like this, only not as sticky and does the job for a one-time use type of project. Same type of concept as that tape. You would want to just take off, you know, your little bit, roll this onto your mat, cut it down, print on your item, and then rip it off when you're done, and saving you some of these right here. Now, the only downside to trying hacking your mat is the fact that the mat, because it's sticky, it actually holds as like a gripper to your item. So right here was a few pieces of wood. I was printing directly onto wood to make cute little pie cutouts. And I needed my material to stick on here. So what I did is I just printed right on top. There was a little bit of overspray, and I just take some like a plastic razor blade and I just chip off the extra. That was actually a little bonus hack. So I am done trying to save you some money and some frustration with the supplies and the stuff that you are going to use with the EufyMake UV printer. Now let's head over to the software where I'm going to talk you through a couple of the little hacks that I have found that I love so much. Before we head over to the software, what I want to tell you is this small little hack, and I'm sure it's going to blow your mind because, hello, I got this machine for free. And you're probably thinking I'm only going to say great things about this machine. And that is not the case. Not here and not on my channel. I say 100% truth. So the truths, and probably the most surprising thing that I will tell you right now is don't do any design work in the EufyMake Studio software unless it actually gets better over time. I prefer to actually do all of my design work in a free program called Inkscape, or you also can use Canva. Either or is perfectly fine. The reason why I prefer Inkscape though, or over Canva, is because I have a laser cutter and I often am pairing my laser cutter with the EufyMake UV printer. And because I am pairing up two separate machines and different brands and different softwares and so forth, it's easier for me to design my products inside the Inkscape software and then save my projects for one format and the other format. I've shown you that in previous videos, but I do want you to know the amount of time that I've tried making anything with the EufyMake Studio software causes me a little bit of an eye twitch that I'm like, why would anyone want to do this? I seriously don't. So if you're new to the EufyMake Studio software or even the EufyMake UV printer, do yourself a favor. Don't do any design work within the EufyMake Studio software. Just do it in programs called Canva or Inkscape. Again, Inkscape's my favorite. I have a ton of videos on exactly how to do both. I just prefer the Inkscape method, especially if I'm going to be using my laser cutter to pair up with the EufyMake UV printer. All right, now that we've gotten that taken care of, let's head over to the EufyMake Studio software. This next little hack that I'm going to give you isn't really actually a hack. It's just something that's super convenient. All right. So coming over here into device, first what I need to do is I need to actually run an inkjet because it's been a while since I've ran my EufyMake UV printer and I got to make some stickers. So I'm just going to press the inkjet mode. This actually, let me just pause real quick and let me talk a little bit about this next hack. We are going to jump around. I actually have a list of like most important hacks. The one that I was going to show you is more convenient is actually kind of important, but this next one is even more important. So this machine has been sitting for 3 days, but then before that it was sitting for 7. What I strongly suggest everyone does when you get your EufyMake UV printer is don't unplug it, do not turn it off. Just leave this sucker turned on. The reason why is because it's self-cleaning. It does its own thing. After you don't use it for a while, it puts itself into this like hibernation mode. But if it ever feels like it's getting clogged or needs a good cleaning, it just doesn't automatically. I fear that if you were to unplug this and just leave this sitting wherever, that because the machine has 0 power, it's not going to clean for you. And if it doesn't clean, then it'll get clogged. And we don't want a clogged UV printer. So what was supposed to be my last and final hack, which is, I don't know, number like 4 or something like that, is just leave this puppy turned on and let it sit. Okay, you don't have to do anything else. When you are done printing, all you have to do is just be done. Walk out of your craft room, don't come back, and it will start doing its own maintenance all on its own. There is a cleaning cartridge on the side of the machine. I've shown you about that in previous videos. Make sure that that's not full. You will get a warning if it is. Make sure and have that, when you do get that warning that it is full, make sure that you have that replaced, and it will just maintain itself, which is great. All right, now let's go back to the one thing that I did want to tell you. That is the super convenient. The one thing that everyone that has been a beta tester has been asking for that now they've given us as an ability, which is great. What you want to do is you actually want to play around with the settings for the EufyMake UV printer. You're going to come over here to this little nut icon and just click on it. Now, this is going to be all of your cool information. If you wanted to rename it, you totally could. But the one thing that I want you to turn on is this button right here called remote printing. So remember in my earlier EufyMake UV printer videos, I would say you would have to press go, press print on your software or even on your phone, and then let the printer connect to your software and jet it over there, and then you would have to wait, and then you would have to get up and press the happy button at the top of the machine. All right, If you click this button and it's green, what's going to happen is the printer, when you send this thing to print, it's going to send it over to the printer, but you never actually have to get up and press that happy button anymore. You can just press start from your computer or from your phone. That's amazing. And I know that might sound like I'm being a little lazy, but sometimes I like to just like put my item in the printer and then like go off into my kitchen and start cooking. I don't want to have to walk back and press a button. I just want to be able to like bing on my phone and call it a day. Now, before I show you about customizing your ink settings, what I want to do is stop and talk a little bit about white ink. There is regular white ink and flexible white inks. These are two very different inks. If you're wanting to learn more about the flexible ink, I have a full video of just the flexible white ink. But essentially, what you're going to use the flexible white ink for is all things that are flexible. So if you wanted to print on canvas, if you want to print on vinyl, if you want to print on cardstock, things that will bend, you're going to want to use the flexible. Everything else, you're going to use this right here. Your stickers that you put on like the sides of your water bottles, like this right here, you print this with the regular white ink. I can tell you in the over 8 months that I have owned my EufyMake UV printer, I've only used one of these cartridges. I have gone through a lot of these, so just keep that in mind. I don't do a whole lot of flexible white inks. However, I did get that rolled of film attachment, and you do need flexible white ink for that, and I am excited to test it out. So going back over here into the flexible white ink, the little tip of information that I want to give you with this ink is that it is not as opaque. It's really translucent as the regular white ink. If you are printing on anything that's white, you are going to not need a whole lot of this because you're printing on white. However, if you are printing on like dark black cardstock or like a black canvas, because I do know they sell black canvas material, you are gonna need a lot of white, flexible white, in order to cover the black color. Unlike this right here, you don't need a whole lot of this. One layer generally does a really good job on coverage because it is so thick and very colorful. The flexible white ink, however, is not. I don't know why they did that, but for whatever reason, the white ink, you need more layers in order to cover up some colors. Now that we got that ink situation covered, let's head over to the software again so I can show you how we can customize our ink settings. Now let's just pretend that we have a new design that we are getting ready to print in the EufyMake Studio software. All you'd want to do is come over here and press the plus sign. I'm going to go into my uploads folder and just put in, we'll just use this Jurassic Park sticker. So there are two ways that you can customize your print settings. Coming over here, let's just say you wanted to print this as like a flat sticker. You would come over here into ink mode and you can choose whatever modes that you want. And then let's just say that we wanted to do white, CMYK, and then gloss. Down here, you can actually add in your own color or the amount of layers that you want to do per each color or per each toner, CMYK, or gloss, okay? You're only allowed to have 12 in total. That is one way that you can customize this type of print setting. Now, the other way to do that is you could just click out of your design and you would come over here into material and you can select one of these materials. Now, it's all going to be different. I can tell you that if you choose the wood setting, what will happen is you will actually get way more layers of white than CMYK and gloss. Wood always gives you the most amount of white layers. Now let's just say that you wanted to print this on sticker. You would come down here to ink mode and press sticker. And for this setting, you cannot customize how much white, color, or gloss gets laid down. I believe what Eufy has said is that they do give you 6 layers of white before they lay down the color for stickers, but I could be wrong. Now just remember, if we were to come over here and do wood and then do CMYK, you get 6 layers of white, 1 layer of each CMYK and gloss. Now let's say you change this over into acrylic by clicking on your clip art again. Now we have 5 layers of white, CMYK, then gloss. Now a lot of people have asked me, like, could I just do white? You absolutely could. All you would need to do is click on your object, come over here into ink mode and only do CMYK. That's going to give you 5 layers of just white. And just to give you an idea of what it's going to look like, this is what your finished product is going to look like, minus that black square. I actually put that black square down there just so you could see. But if you were to print this just in white, putting this over that black square, this is what type of image you'll look like. Just a white, weird looking shape. If you wanted to just do white font, you totally could by uploading a white font that you would create in either Canva or Inkscape, or you can create them over here. But again, I'm going to revert back to, I actually don't like doing any design work in the EufyMake Studio software, so I'm not going to show that to you today. Okay, so the very next thing that I can tell you about the EufyMake Studio software is there is this button called opacity. I don't even know why it exists. I truly don't. It drives me crazy because if you bump this down even the smidgest like this, if you go ahead and print this, this is actually going to be far less opaque than this. It almost comes out as if you didn't print anything. It's pretty terrible. So I would prefer if you never touched the opacity button and just left it like this, because the last thing you want, and I've done it before in previous videos, I have bumped this down and got printed nothing because I didn't bump it back up, unfortunately. Even if you do the slightest, like even if you go to 95, it's not gonna look like this. It looks clear. It looks like you'd printed nothing. So don't change this. They used to, the reason why we used to have to do that is when we would move these around, you see how when I click and drag this, now it is like this translucent item. It used to not do that. So it was hard to line up your items onto different cutouts because it was this color. And so it was really hard to align. But now that we have this, there's truly no reason for this opacity button to be there unless they want to fix that part of the software. TBD if that actually does end up being an update. But just letting you know, don't press that button. Now, the last and final tip that I can tell you right now is that you need to pay attention to is going to be how much ink you actually consume. And I would like to note that if you are doing 3D texture prints, so anything that has a flat raise, pattern texture, relief texture, or even your custom texture, you are going to go through way more ink than if you were to just doing flat prints. Now, the greatest part about the EufyMake UV printer is that you do have the ability to print in 3D texture. The downfall is it's going to suck up the amount of ink that you use. And it really is, it's going to suck up the amount of white ink that you use. You're going to consume so much white ink because the printer has to build all these layers to make these really thick prints. So I have just created some small little relief texture pattern. If you come over here into preview, you're going to be able to see that there is some texture into this, right? Now you could, if you wanted to, you could make the thickness, which is why this printer is so stinking cool, is you could make these really thick, 5 millimeters. That's not a thin print, okay? If you were to do that, however, let's just do a mini flatbed. I'm gonna put in my mini flatbed for the sticker, and I'm gonna put this down here. Okay, let me go put in that mini flatbed. With the mini flatbed installed, because it has to be installed in order for you to do this, you would have to press snapshot. I'm just gonna show you what a mock print and how much the ink consumption would cost you if you were to do a print this size. This hypothetically is going to be a 3D texture print, and it is going to be about 132 millimeters in length and 105 millimeters in height. This is set at the thickest setting that the EufyMake printer will print at. All right, I'm just gonna place it right here. I am not gonna commit to this because I know for a fact I am not going to print this. But let's just say that you wanted to print this sticker at the thickest texture quality that the EufyMake printer has to offer, okay? I just press print. The print is going to go from here over to there. And now this small little sticker, like yay big, it's not that big, is going to take a total of 11.72 milliliters. 11 milliliters of ink. Do you see how much white and gloss you're gonna use? 6 milliliters of white and 5.6 milliliters of gloss. That's a lot of ink. If you are unaware, that is a lot of ink. Just think of it this way. Each one of those tanks, each one of these tanks is 100 milliliters. So if you were to think about it, you would only get 10 prints of this with one ink. That is not happening. So what you can do is pay attention to the ink consumption, because I do not want you to use way too much ink, okay? You can come over here and press cancel. You do not have to commit to this, okay? Just press cancel. We're gonna cancel. We ain't gonna do that. Now, just by doing a little bit of adjustments, let's shake this down to 1 millimeters, and then we'll press print again. The unfortunate part about doing a snapshot, setting up your print, and then heading over into the print, if you decide to cancel, you now have to do another snapshot. That is the only unfortunate part. But however, I would much rather you waste time doing snapshots than committing to an 11 milliliter wasted of ink on a sticker. That's way too much, way too much. I say, generally, when I do a sheet of stickers for my cardstock warehouse, I use the large sheet sticker things that come with the EufyMake UV printer, and it's for the large flatbed. I use a total of 5 milliliters for that huge sticker sheet, and I get about 50 to 60 stickers per sheet. So just to give you an idea of like how many I get for how little ink I use versus doing something like this. Also would like to note, since we're waiting for this, the 3D texture print technology does take the longest. So give yourself some grace, give the machine some grace. I generally like to, if I am going to do a 3D texture print, I like to do it at the end of the day because it does take the longest. So now it was like 11 milliliters of ink that was going to be used for that small little sticker. We bumped it down to 1 milliliter, and look what ends up happening. You are now at 2.86 milliliters of used versus 11. So just by taking the height and bumping it down does save you quite a bit of ink. Now, the unfortunate part about this is while it saves you ink, it's not going to give you as much texture. But to be honest with you, the ink, it ain't cheap. You don't want to like overly use this ink. You know what I mean? Especially for something that's like this. I mean, I wouldn't use it for this. I don't know. Maybe you would want to use it for this. So anyways, that is it for the hacks that I have for you with the EufyMake UV printer. There isn't truly that many hacks that are needed with this printer because this printer is amazing. It's absolutely amazing. I am in love with this printer and everything that it's capable of. And there ain't a whole lot of hacks that needs to be done because this machine is already so great. All right, so if you are a EufyMake UV printer owner and you know of other things that would help other owners out, leave them in the comments of this video because sharing is caring, my friends. I'll see you on the next one.